Whether you're a longtime tea drinker or just getting into tea, everybody should have today's product in their home or office. Today I'm really excited to talk about the Bonavita 1.7 liter variable temperature electric kettle. In this video we're going to go over three things. We're going to first go over the features of the kettle, then I'm going to talk about what separates this kettle from other options in the market, and third, we're going to show you how simple it is to use. First, the construction. It's a beautiful stainless steel, BPA-free plastic, and it's rated UL commercial, which means that it can go more than 5 times as many use cycles as a product rated for household use. So this is a variable temperature electric kettle. So in addition to having user-defined presets, you can set the exact temperature you want, anywhere from 160 up to 212 degrees, and it's going to read out on the LED display. A really great and really important benefit of this kettle is the fact that you can rely on knowing that it's bringing the temperature of your water to an accuracy of within 1%. Now most kettles on the market are not doing this. The standard is that usually they're trying to bring the temperature of the water to within 5% of what you're setting the temperature of your water to be. But for the serious tea drinker, that's just not going to cut it, that's not going to get the job done. Imagine if you're trying to bring your water to 200 degrees and you have another kettle that's only bringing it to within 5%. That's a difference of 10 degrees. That's a temperature for a completely different tea than what you're trying to make. That's just not going to cut it, it's not going to get the job done. That's why you need a Bonavita kettle that you can rely on knowing that's bringing the temperature of your water to within 1%. With the variable temperature, you can set the temperature of the water to whatever you need it to be, whether it's 160 or 170 for lighter tea, all the way up to boiling. You can set it using the LED display below, and it's going to show a readout of the temperature while it's heating and once it reaches the temperature that you set. Another awesome and great feature of this kettle, which I love, is the hold button. You can set the hold button so that you can tell the kettle that once it reaches your desired temperature, to hold that temperature for you so that it can keep the water at that temperature, and it'll hold that for up to an hour. Another great feature of this kettle specifically is the throttling, the way it brings the water to your desired temperature. I've used other kettles that I'll talk about a little bit more in this video that will overshoot. And they just have a preset way they throttle. It puts so much power into the kettle and it goes up. Put so much power into the kettle, it goes up. The Bonavita electric kettle is so much better because it can have smaller throttles as it's getting closer to your temperature, and I never overshoot my desired temperature with the Bonavita electric kettle. Another really cool feature of this kettle is it has a built-in timer that you can use for when you're timing how long you're steeping your tea. So if you need to steep a tea for 4 minutes, when you take the kettle off the base and pour in your water, you can actually hit the plus button and it'll start counting up for you. So you can actually use the LED display as a counter for how long you need to steep your tea. The kettle itself sits on a base that can swivel 360 degrees. When you take it off, after you've heated your kettle, the bottom will stay cool to touch. Now I don't recommend running your hand under it after you've heated it up, but the bottom stays cool to touch, so if you do set it down on something, you're okay, because the heating element is actually recessed up underneath. Another nice feature is that the electric cord, any excess that you have, you can actually wrap up underneath the base. So if you have this in a kitchen right next to an outlet and you don't want the extra length of the cord sticking out, you can wrap it up and use exactly what you need. So we've talked about some of the features of the kettle, but now I kind of want to give a first-hand testimonial of why I love this kettle. First of all, in terms of a quality kettle that's going to bring your temperature of your water to within 1%, that's going to give you an accurate readout, that's not just limited and based on presets, but allows you to define the temperature you're going to bring it to. I've used other kettles that are very popular brands on the market. I'm not going to say the names of the brands, but I've used other kettles that are very popular in the market and very big name brands. I've used kettles that actually cost $20 more than what the Bonavita kettle sells for. I've used $99 ones, the Bonavita is $79. This one is phenomenal. It has so many features, but I also feel that it's a better kettle overall. I personally feel that this one heats the water faster. One of the things I really do love that I've mentioned is the throttling is so much better. The other kettles that I've used, even the more expensive ones, the way they throttle, I might set a temperature for water at 170, and as it gets close, that final throttle shoots it up to 180, and now I've got to wait for the water to cool down. The built-in timer feature is great, and that hold feature is critical. You've got to have that. Basically, when you turn the kettle on, we'll show you how it uses it. You set your temperature, you hit the hold button. You know that when it reaches that temperature, that it's going to stay, so you can leave the room, things like that. But the other neat feature is when you put the kettle back on, because maybe you're going to have a second cup of tea, you can hit the hold button again and it's going to hold that. That's a feature that I have not found in other comparable kettles at this price point. Now, you might go to the store and you might see kettles on the shelf for $40, $50, and you're wondering, why do I need one for $79 when I can buy an electric kettle for $40? The way that this is constructed, the way it's designed, and the features of this are far superior. The ones for lower prices, you're not going to be able to actually type in the exact temperature that you want. It's going to be based on a couple of presets. The other thing is, it's not going to give you a readout LED display of the temperature while it's heating, while it's cooling, so you won't actually know what the temperature is. And we've already talked about the fact that only one like a Bonavita or a nice kettle is going to have that accuracy to within 1 degree. And all the other features that make this an awesome kettle, as well as the commercial grade quality. So as far as all the kettles that I've been around, that I've used, whether there's ones that cost more, cost less, I am so proud that we offer the Bonavita kettle for fine line teas, because I truly believe that not only is this the best kettle out there, but it's a better price point than some of the other comparable kettles that are on the market. So let's go ahead and show how easy it is to use the Bonavita variable temperature electric kettle. So I got a one-touch button on the handle here. I'm going to open up the lid. I'm going to pour in some water. I'm not going to pour in too much because I actually already have some water in there. I'm going to close our lid. I'm going to turn it on. First thing I'm going to do, we see a temperature blinking here. It's probably the last temperature that I used the last time I used the kettle. So now I want to set the temperature. So let's just set it to 180. I'm going to hit temperature set. It's going to blink. The blinking is telling us that it's ready for me to set the temperature. I'm just going to let it blink. When I get to the temperature I want, I don't have to hit set temperature. I can just stop and it'll program itself in. And now what I want to do, the important thing is I want to hit hold. Hitting the hold is going to tell the kettle when it reaches 180 degrees to go ahead and just hold at 180 degrees. Now, even though this is a very quick kettle in terms of heating up your water, one of the things that we're seeing right now that you'll notice, which is an awesome feature that I mentioned before about the throttling, once it gets close to your desired temperature, it's doing little throttles so that it can get right up to the temperature that you set, so that we're not overshooting by 10 degrees like other kettles that I've used that cost $20 more. Okay, so here we are at our desired temperature. Would simply take it off and pour, and like I said, if you want, you can now use this as a timer. So our LED is now counting for us. If we're steeping tea for 3 minutes, we can use that. Now, another nice feature that I mentioned with the hold, when I put the kettle back on the base, it's going to go back and show the temperature. I have 5 seconds from when I put it back on the base that I can hit hold again. Now I can go enjoy my cup of tea, and knowing that I have water that's going to be ready for me for my next cup at 180 degrees, which is an awesome feature, a feature that I can't do on other kettles, to put it back on, hit hold again, and maintain it at the temperature after taking it off and putting it back on. So it's really simple to use the Bonavita electric kettle. If you've used it, or if you have one at home, please leave a comment about your experience on our product page. Fine Line Teas, refuge and fine tea. Your source for a variety of amazing tea and quality brands. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter for more tips, specials, and much more.